because people just fall out of the world from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
And it ties so much of this together. And I hate to steal an idea from Astonishing Legends, but the one thing they keep coming back to is everything being connected somehow. And
somehow, yeah.
And I'm seeing connections. That's all I'm saying here, is I'm seeing connections between what the Creek believe, what's happening in Bishopville, and what happens in other places.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that we speak about this, in all of our episodes thus far that I figured out, there's always been at least one thing that's connected.
We're talking about.
And it doesn't have to be the same thing on every episode. Well, are you okay?
Yeah, no.
She's giggling at me. That's why I'm asking.
There's one thing that's connected. We are talking about it, I said. Well, am I wrong?
No.
No, but I see what you're saying. I'm making light, but I definitely, I see where both of you are coming from, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I could wade out as far as you are into the great unknown, but I can definitely give weight to your arguments. I'm not going to poo-poo you and say you're wrong, because I don't know. I'm mature enough to say that I don't know everything that's out there, and I don't think even whoever claims to be the smartest person living on the earth today knows everything. They can't. And the fact that there is such a wide, vast amount of everything out there is just enough unknown that I can't really say one way or the other. So everything you said could totally be right.
Well, I would have said one of the smartest people I know is Bill Gates. But as of 2 weeks ago, I don't buy that anymore. There's a reason Melinda's out the door. That's all I'm saying. Overall, my summary on this is that I don't think there's enough evidence to support it, even though they have found tracks, multiple tracks. And in fact, some of them are on display at the local police station. Or sheriff's station. I'm not sure which they have. I want to say they have a sheriff, so I don't know. Overall, I have to say I just think it's a case of cryptid tourism right now. I think that if there's any truth to it, it's the sort of truth where it's 3 a.m. and someone sees it because they fell just enough into that other world, or something in the other world fell just enough into our world that they could see it for a little while. But by and large, I don't think you're going to find a lot of evidence. I think that the Fout monster is a lot more solid, and even the Fout monster was a bit reluctant, let's say, to show itself.
Sure, absolutely.
So, with not even that much evidence to go on, I have to say, overall, I think that the swamp monster of Scape Ore Swamp, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I'm just going to say it doesn't exist most of the time on this plane. And that's my response to it.
Mom, you want to go next? Because mine is probably going to be like the longest out of all yours.
I mean, I think I've pretty much thrown out everything that I have to say about it. I'm kind of where your dad is. I'm not jaded enough to think that I know everything and that I can say that it's a thing or is not a thing. I'm going to say that I believe that there are things that I don't know. And that's where I'm going to leave it for right now.
Here's my thing about this creature we keep talking about that's so-called the lizard man or whatever. I don't necessarily understand the fact that people, like, keep saying that it's there, but I also don't necessarily disagree with them when they say they're there, because I haven't experienced it myself, and it's hard for me to say that something is definitely real or something is definitely fake. So I'm trying to get the thing here about if I hear someone tell me about it, if I see something that makes me think it's definitely a thing, I'll let you know. But right now, I'm in the midsection of where if there is no evidence for me to know, and if this is actually just two different separate dimensions that we are just sitting here looking at, well, yes, it could be a thing, typically, but it might not be a part of our world. So I'm gonna say I have to agree with you, Dad, but I also have to take a little bit on Mom's side, because I cannot say that I am totally ensured that everything here is, like, known to me.
Can we start a Krysta should go to law school fund along with Team Bunny? Because she's very in the middle.
I think Krysta is just fine.
I wasn't a complaint. I just don't want to pay for the legal school, that's all.
But, okay. Again.
I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
We're right there with you, baby.
We're right there with you. And here's the thing. It's not a matter of whether I'm right, whether Mom's right, whether you're right. Mm-hmm. All we can do with evidence that we have is speculate. Mm-hmm. We don't have hair samples.
Right.
We don't have blood samples.
Right.
We don't have claw samples or anything else. Mm-hmm. What we have are footprints, but even those I'm a little sketchy about, because
I mean, it could be anything.
South Carolina is a place where Bigfoot sightings are reported. So if you've got something stomping around that you ain't seeing, and it's leaving footprints, I believe a Bigfoot before I believe a lizard monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But still, you sometimes...
And then there's the whole thing about they have snow there.
Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong, but I always thought that lizards don't just function, that they need heat. They need heat and light. That, like, most lizards have to take their morning and soak up heat to get the energy to move through the day. They're what they're called cold-blooded.
Yeah. Right.
And so how does a cold-blooded creature live in a place that doesn't have tropical levels of sun?
Right.
Or at least regular sun?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why green iguanas flourish in Florida. Because it's a sunny environment, they are able to function there, and even though they're not native to the region, it works for them. Which is probably bad because, well, they're not native to the region and they've taken over.
Mm. Right.
So, I just have my brain is going, well, how does it survive the winter months?
Mm-hmm.
And even if there's not that many winter months, okay.
There are still some, but it's like...
Is there a federal program that lets it fly to Florida when it gets cold? You know, are the men in black taking care of it? What's going on?
I'm going to have to agree with you there, but also I'm kind of connecting it to that other world thing, where it could be a thing where it just stays there sometimes to freak people out, or not necessarily freak them out on purpose, but it's there and it's not its habitat, so it's just like, who is this person? Why is it here? It's probably here because it took me to this world. I'm going to attack it.
And if that's the case, if the other world theory holds any water, and that's where it lives, then I can see it being aggressive when it gets to our world because it doesn't know where the hell it is.
And it's just like, did you do this? Okay, I'm coming after you. You didn't tell me if you did it, so... And I don't even understand what the world you're saying, so I'm just gonna go after you.
But, yeah, and I mean, I just... There's a lot I can buy.
No.
There's a lot I can buy.
I'm listening to you guys.
But there's no amount of pot brownies that will allow me to believe that a lizard man is going to function in a place where there's snow.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe that either, because the lizard that we own cannot even stand a 1 hour without light. So, I wouldn't necessarily say it's fake. I wouldn't necessarily say it's real. I wouldn't go on a whole thing searching for it.
I guess if I want to just put an end to what I'm saying is exactly this. I don't think it lives in our world. It might visit occasionally, but I don't think it lives in our world.
Right. No, I couldn't say that. Here's my thing. If people think it's real, people think it's real. People think it's fake, people think it's fake. Here's the thing. I'm not going to go around saying it's real or fake because sometimes I want mystery in the world. Sometimes I want it to be unknown. Sometimes I don't even want it to be there. So, in the first place, I'm sitting here at square one, and I'm trying not to figure out the mysteries of the world because sometimes I want to keep it on the down low. That is what I'm trying to say.
Either that, or it's some sort of situation where a crazy guy who's a mad scientist managed to create a giant lizard monster.
Cool.
Because if you've got a mayor that covers himself in buttons, then you could have a crazy geneticist building lizard monsters near the swamp.
Sure, or you can have men dressing up in random tail suits with lizard-looking things.
You know, the one photo I saw recently, that's what it looks like. It looks like the Gorn from the Star Trek series. Anyway.
Well, that's interesting.
That is our show.
It is our show. But it was a fun show.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
This was definitely a bus ride to the...
And I feel really good about it because we found out information that Josh Gates didn't. In your face, Josh!
But he still loves you.
And I do. I still love him. But it's time to say our goodbyes. And of course, I want to begin with thanking our listeners.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
Let's definitely begin with that. I think that should be a new thing going forward.
Especially after last week. Episode 43 is our most listened to episode.
Seriously?
You did. Well, that's important.
That is important.
You should have led with that.
I saved it to the end because
it's good to know.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I was thrilled. I mean, it got tons of listens.
Yay!
And it's still getting them. So, yay. Awesome.
Good job. Oh, also, I was looking online the other day. Our podcast is going... I remember looking up our podcast when we started the first 13 episodes. It was not doing great. It was not at the top. There was a podcast called Family Plot before us. However, now when I looked it up, the first podcast that came up was us. And all we had thus far were 5-star reviews. I am pleasantly surprised. I am also happy and excited. Thank you so much, guys. Honestly, this means a whole lot to me, even if sometimes it seems like it doesn't, which...
She's getting all the feels right now.
Yeah, a whole bunch of feels are hitting.
And I guess it's also important for me to drop out here that there is a list on Podchaser of what they call every true crime, paranormal, and weird podcast you will ever need. It may have been put together by Paige Elmore because she's the one who shared it, but I kind of got the sense that maybe it was Podchaser's doing.